we're back, and we have no gi featuring your favorite Asian, the Asian Persuasion, Mike, the blue belt, and Joe, the white belt. Let's see how they do in this roll today. Remember, you can get awesome gear from xmartial.com. Use my link in the description to save some money. Now, what will you learn in this roll today? You're going to learn how to roll like an old man despite being around 23 years old. Mike used to be the OG Bastards Ben, as I've said before, but he's really tapered that down because he kept getting caught in a lot of submissions. So now he's decided to roll like an old man, which isn't nearly as fun to watch, but is certainly more effective in Jiu-Jitsu. Now, generally, I slow all my rolls down because they're pretty fast-paced, but this one is a little bit slower, so I don't slow it down nearly as much other than the key moments. Now, the first key moment is happening right here. Mike is on bottom, he's going to get a simple extension sweep. All he has to do is bring his legs in, he's going to have his shins by the upper legs of Joe, grab the ankles, and he's going to extend the shins while pulling out the ankles, and he gets a very easy sweep. Basic, but certainly old man jiu-jitsu. Now we can see that Mike also has a strong base. A strong base is great for him because he can control his own posture instead of Joe beating him up. It's also much easier to keep your weight under you so you won't get swept until you want to move on your own terms. From Mike's forward position, he's going to hit a quick over-under pass. He uses the back step to complete it so he can pass the guard, and now he's keeping that same pressure that he had on Joe's hips, and he's pushing forward with this because he wants to pin Joe to the ground. Now let's quickly get my question of the day out of the way, and in light of this roll, do you prefer to do fast or slow jiu-jitsu? For me, I love to be fast, and I love winning by attrition and grinding my opponent down. Clearly, Mike doesn't feel the same. I'm more on Bastards Ben's team. I do think, however, it is a nice change of pace to have this roll compared to Ben's roll yesterday, so you guys can see that our gym is not just full of spazzes and high-paced energy rolls. Some guys prefer to roll like old men. Now, the hips don't lie here. We can see that Joe is able to hip in sweep on Mike to get out of this bottom side control position. Hips like that could make any woman happy. However, Mike is doing a nice job when he's on bottom. He's doing a little extension on his own part. We could see that when Joe was on his back, he was pinned to the mat. Mike is also pinned with his shoulders, but his legs are helping to relieve some pressure, so Joe isn't able to pin him. Joe's looking for his first Americana, but Mike has that blue belt strength where he can use one arm to defeat both of Joe's arms together to get out of the Americana attempt. It's great to see that Joe went for something, but come on, man. 2 arms against 1, you should definitely be able to finish that. Now, Mike uses some proper extension to get both legs in there, and then he lifts Joe, and he gets to a neutral guard. From this neutral guard, we can start to see how they're going to both react. Joe wants to stay on top, and he's pushing forward immediately. He's trying to throw the legs by, but Mike is doing a nice job of doing that old man jiu-jitsu, where he doesn't do anything but just wait and watch. Now, Joe is trying to pass this guard, but being the white belt trying to pass the blue belt's guard, it's not always the easiest thing. He's trying to press forward, but he comes forward a little too much, giving Mike a Kimura trap. With this Kimura, Mike decides to hip out, and he's going to swing all the way around Joe to take the back. That was a nice Kimura trap by Mike, and from here, Joe is trying to turn into him. But Mike is smart, he's going to use his hips against Joe. As Joe is trying to bridge and turn into him, Mike continues to rotate his hips, and now he's getting on top so he can throw both hooks in for a regular back control. That was a great back take by Mike, but now I want to see that Joe can get his hips up. If he can put his butt up and his hips up, he can lean his head forward and he can try and shrug Mike off of him. Instead of doing the wrestler approach and thinking like a wrestler, he's going to turn to his back and he's going to give Mike mount. Now, Joe is not known to be a power bottom, but he definitely should be. He should be looking to get on his side and be shrimping immediately because most of the power is actually generated through the bottom, as Dennis Reynolds would say. Now, Joe is able to get Mike's leg in a 3/4 mount, and I'd love to see him shrimp harder and push against the knee. He's focusing too much on the arm, and that's not going to help him out here. I want to see him curl his body towards Mike's knee, and then continue to shrimp and get to half guard. Instead, he's going to do a much more questionable decision. He's going to give up this nice 3/4 mount position, and he's going to bump Mikey forward. As he bumps him forward, he made the wrong choice, and now Mikey is completely comfortable in the full mount position once again. This is giving Mike time to decide what attack he'd like to do. Definitely the wrong choice from Joe. I'll have to tell him how to fix that in the future. Now, what you're watching is the epitome of old man jiu-jitsu. Once an old guy gets in a better control, he just maintains that control. And that's definitely smart. Nothing against it. It's just not very fun to watch or to be a part of. Now, Mike is starting to pressure forward, and he's hoping to look for his own attack. Joe is trying to move. He's got his hips moving, but he's not doing anything smart with his arms, as in trying to shrimp. Mikey is transitioning to the mounted triangle because Joe had his arm a little too low and was very easy to go over the shoulder. Once he's over the shoulder, he's starting to lock up the figure 4, and then he can adjust his weight as needed to finish the submission. Now, if you get caught in this position, you're wondering how to get out of it from bottom, there honestly are not too many great options you have from the bottom. It's very hard to move around because they have such a strong position over your shoulders and your chest that you're completely pinned down. We can see here that Joe is using his legs. He's trying to get out of here. It's just hard to do. Mikey has too much weight for it. Luckily though, Joe is able to unlock this guard by bringing his hands in to pry the lock open. Once he's able to unlock it, he can finally breathe again because I'm sure he was starting to see stars. Now Joe does a nice job. He can actually hear me through the microphone and he shrimps out. Mikey does a better job, however, by countering. He counters the shrimp and he goes immediately to neon belly. Once he's in the neon belly position, he's setting up a special submission. Now, because Joe is not pushing this knee to escape and to run away, he's going to have to get caught in something ugly on video. I'm sorry to do this to you, Joe. We have a special submission at the gym known as a neck crank that Brock always does, so I call it the Brock crank. From knee mount, you grab the neck, both sides of it, you turn the neck a little bit, and you pinch everything in opposite directions. It feels like your neck is going to explode. It's not a great feeling, and Joe tapped out really quickly. After that submission, Joe has seen the light, and he just ingested some fresh bath salts. He starts the round, and he immediately comes tumbling into Mike, and he gets swept over. But if that didn't work the first time, he may as well try it again. He gets rolled over once again by Mike, but then we realize Joe has very low tolerance to bath salts. He needs to work on bends so he can have much better energy from them because he ran out and now he's on bottom and he's not able to complete any more sweeps. Mike is working around this guard with ease and the round is coming close to an end. But the nice thing is that Mike's working to the bell. He's starting to set up a submission. He's looking for the guillotine and he's going to transition into the Dars. Now this is bringing us to the end of the video, so if you want some awesome gear, make sure to check out my link in the description. Also, thank you to all my current viewers and patrons. I appreciate all of you. I will still have 2 videos out for Christmas and Christmas Eve. They just won't have any narration because I'll be pretty busy.